News from around the globe. Hot, fresh, balanced and objective. On Unity.
Hello and welcome to News Hour on Unity TV. Today is Thursday, the 2nd of March 2023 and it's equivalent to 10th of Sha'ban 1444 after Hijrah. The headlines. CBN may grant Falana's request on new Naira notes. Honorable Dogwa Dahiru remanded in Kano prison over alleged murder. NLC to aggrieved political parties challenge your defeat in court. And on the foreign scene, China and Belarus express extreme interest in Ukraine peace. And in sports, Man United beat West Ham to reach FA Cup quarters. And those were the headlines, and for details and more of the stories, I am Rukayat Sani Ibrahim. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has promised to provide information on the disbursement of the new notes of 200 Naira, 500 Naira and 1,000 Naira. The CBN stated this in its response to the request made to it by activist lawyer Femi Falana's son in a letter dated February 16, 2023, pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act 2011. The CBN's response was contained in a letter dated February 24, 2023, reference CSD/FOICON/FFC/001/033, signed by Aminu Muhammad for Director Secretary to the board and entitled Request for Information on Disbursement of New Naira Notes to Commercial Banks. Falana had requested the CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele to provide information on the disbursement of the new notes. Falana, based on his letter on the Freedom of Information Act 2011, the request followed statement credited to the CBN governor that some unnamed politicians have mopped up the new Naira notes made available to all commercial banks by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Falana promised to file a suit against the CBN governor if he fails or refuses to provide the requested information before the deadline of 7 days at the Federal High Court to compel him to accede to their request. The letter was signed on his behalf by Femi Adedeji. House of Representatives leader Al-Hassan Dogwa and others were yesterday remanded in Gorondutse Correctional Center for alleged culpable homicide and other criminal offenses. Chief Magistrate of Court 54, No Man's Land Ibrahim Yola, gave the order when Dogwa and one Bashir Dahiru were paraded on 5 counts by state governments. Parading the lawmaker representing Dogwa Tudunwada Federal Constituency and one Dahiru prosecuting counsel, Aisha Salisu, told the court that the defendants were being charged for criminal conspiracy, causing grievous hurt, mischief, use of firearms and inciting disturbance. According to Salisu, the lawmaker was accused of mobilizing his thugs to unleash terror on Tudunwada Coalition Center on Sunday, February 26, where 3 persons died and 8 others injured with dangerous weapons. The prosecution argued that the alleged offenses violated provisions of Section 79, Subsection 7 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, ACJA, and Section 247 and 221 of Penal Code of Kano. Counsel to Dogwa Abdul Adamu sought for the date for trial and appeal for his client's bail. Dogwa is a responsible member of his community with no criminal record and will not jump bail if granted, he told the court. But the prosecuting counsel objected to his bail application, urging the court to consider the gravity of Dogwa's offense. She pleaded with the court to remand the defendant pending the determination of the case. Yola ordered that Dogwa and Dahiru be remanded and adjourned till March 7, 2023 for ruling on the bail application. The police command in Kano had earlier confirmed the arrest of Dogwa at Kano Airport on Monday on his way to board a flight to Saudi Arabia. The National Director General of APC Professionals Council, Honorable Seyi Bamigbade, has congratulated the country's President-elect Senator Bola Tinubu on his victory at the just concluded presidential election, saying it was a victory for all Nigerians. Bamigbade, who was appointed as APC National Observer during the elections, said Tinubu's presidency will usher in a new dawn for Nigeria. In a congratulatory message yesterday, shortly after the declaration of Bola Tinubu as winner of presidential election by INEC, Bamigbade expressed confidence that Tinubu will preside over a peaceful and prosperous Nigeria, saying Tinubu will be magnanimous in victory. Bamigbade also appealed to Lagos State residents to vote en masse for the state governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and other APC candidates in the forthcoming governorship and House of Assembly elections. He said the governor has delivered on his campaign promises in his first tenure and must be re-elected for second tenure to continue to deliver the dividends of democracy in the state. The Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) has urged aggrieved political parties in the just concluded presidential and National Assembly elections to challenge their cases in the court. NLC President Joe Ajero stated this yesterday when he led national executives of the Congress on a visit to the Association of Nigerian Aviation Professionals (ANAP) at the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria (FAAN) office in Lagos. He said losers in the elections have the right to seek redress in court or even protest if they think that the contest was not transparent, free and fair. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, had yesterday announced Bola Tinubu of the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC) as Nigeria's president-elect from the February 25 polls. Some political parties, including the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and Labour Party (LP), have rejected the outcome of the election. The political parties alleged that the poll was rigged in favor of Tinubu, who secured 8,794,726 votes to defeat Atiku Abubakar of the PDP and Peter Obi of Labour Party, who garnered 6,984,520 and 6,101,533 votes to place second and third positions, respectively. Ajero lauded the performance of Labour Party candidates, scoring them high in the presidential and National Assembly elections, stressing that Labour now has a voice in the National Assembly. Governor Babagana Umar Zulum yesterday approved another 1 billion naira for reconstruction work to start at the Maiduguri Monday market, which was engulfed by a fire disaster in the early hours of Sunday. According to a statement yesterday, Zulum's approval was announced by the Secretary to Borno State Government, Usman Jidda Shua, during the inauguration of a committee that will coordinate all matters relating to the market fire incident. The governor on Monday presented a check of 1 billion naira to be distributed to victims to serve as emergency relief pending other measures by government. The SSG, during the inauguration, read a speech on behalf of Zulum. The 23-member committee inaugurated comprised Engineer Zarami Dungus as the chairman of the committee. According to the statement, the governor also spelled out 9 specific terms of reference for the committee. Some of them include to appraise and determine the immediate and remote causes of the fire, as well as the factors responsible for its wild, uncontrollable nature, engulfing the entire market and establishing whether it was a result of arson or accident. The Atiku Okowa Presidential Campaign Council of the People's Democratic Party has vowed to challenge the outcome of the February 25 presidential election that returned the candidate of the ruling All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, as president-elect. The campaign also urged party supporters to be worry-free as efforts are being made to retrieve the party's mandate. Speaking on Wednesday evening, through a statement by the spokesperson and director of public affairs of the campaign committee, Dino Melaye, described the outcome of the election a grave injustice. Melaye, in a third statement, stated that a clarion call on all Atiku supporters all over the world not to be perturbed. Weeping may tarry till night, but joy cometh in the morning, adding that this grave injustice shall not stand and the battle to retrieve their stolen mandate is a battle of no retreat, no surrender, which they shall overcome. And on the foreign scene, the leaders of China and Belarus have expressed their extreme interest in a peaceful resolution in Ukraine. China President and Belarus leader Alexander Lukashenko, a close ally of Russia's Vladimir Putin, issued the statement after talks in Beijing. Mr. Lukashenko said his country fully supports a Beijing plan for ending the war in Ukraine. China announced a plan for peace talks last week, calling for the respect of national sovereignty. The visit comes days after China sent its top diplomat Wang Yi to meet Mr. Putin. Mr. Lukashenko and Mr. Xi's meeting also coincided with a visit by U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken to Central Asian nations to discuss the Ukraine war. On Wednesday, China and Belarus expressed deep concern about the conflict and extreme interest in the soonest possible establishment of peace talks in Ukraine. The Belarus state-run news agency Belta reported Mr. Lukashenko has aided the Russian leader in his war in Ukraine, and observers have seen his trip to Beijing as another sign of China closing ranks with Russia and its allies. The Belarus leader praised China's peace plan. And in sports, Alejandro Garnacho and Fred struck late as Manchester United came from behind to beat West Ham 3-1 and reached the FA Cup quarter-finals on Wednesday. But Tottenham were stunned by champion side Sheffield United. In the evening's other fifth-round ties, fourth-tier Grimsby embarrassed Premier League strugglers Southampton 2-1 and Burnley beat 10-man Fleetwood 1-0 Manchester United, who made 6 changes to the team that started Sunday's League Cup final win against Newcastle. Lack fluency in front of an expectant Old Trafford crowd, United goalkeeper David De Gea thwarted Michel Antonio when the West Ham forward bore down on goal midway through the opening period and Emerson Palmieri flashed an inviting ball across the box. United manager Erik ten Hag brought on Casemiro for Scott McTominay at halftime, but the home side remained sluggish, said Ben Raham made them pay in the 54th minute, rifling the ball past De Gea after the home defenders stopped thinking the ball had gone out for a throw-in. The goal prompted Ten Hag to introduce top scorer Marcus Rashford, but Antonio had a glorious chance to double West Ham's lead, only to be denied again by De Gea. Casemiro had the ball in the net in the 72nd minute, but his bother from a Bruno Fernandes free kick was ruled out for offside following a VAR review. United finally draw level 5 minutes later when Fernandes sent in a corner and Naif Aguad headed into his own goal. The home side still on a high after ending their 6-year trophy drought at the weekend, poured forward in search of a winner. They got their reward when Argentine teenager Garnacho produced a superb right-footed collar in the 90th minute to edge United ahead, followed by a stoppage time strike by Fred. With this story, we've come to the end of our bulletin for today. You can follow us on our social media handles at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Unity FM TV. You can also watch us live on our YouTube channel on Unity FM TV, respectively. I am Rukayat Sani Ibrahim. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of our programs.
Unity.